So today I'm going to talk about the NIC evaluation that is offered from the Registry of Interpreters for the Deaf, which, as you know, you can find at www.rid.org. When you go there, look for their certification programs, and then in certification you'll find some links to the NIC, and then you'll find a link to a PDF document that's over 50 pages of information about the exam. So that's a useful tool to get a hold of ahead of time so that you know exactly what you're going to be looking for, what you need to do to be able to sit for the exams. So RID, the NIC exam has essentially two portions in the form of there is a knowledge portion. Some of the old timers might call it the written test. Back in the days when I was getting certified, we used to fill in the bubble sheets. Nowadays, you'll go to a computer center somewhere and take it online. One of the nice things that's different now is that you'll get your results immediately, where we used to have to wait for the bubble sheets to go off to headquarters and get scanned and get figured out in the results and all that. So in any case, the first portion of the test is the knowledge test. You cannot take the interview/performance part of the test without taking the knowledge exam. So that's important to remember. Is you need to take that part of the test first. They won't even let you sit for the other part. One thing that you do that you are allowed is you can take the knowledge test while you do not yet have a bachelor's degree. So if let's say you're a working interpreter and you've never gotten a degree, you can still go take the knowledge test. If you're an interpreting student somewhere in one of the many interpreter programs throughout the country at the colleges, then you can still go take the knowledge exam, and if you pass it, you have 5 years to meet the qualifications necessary to be able to take the performance test. And essentially, it's a bachelor's degree. The bachelor's degree can be in any subject. It doesn't have to be in sign language or interpreting. The knowledge test is what you're going to do first. There are several criteria, things like linguistics, things like history of the profession, communication. You'll find all of those aspects that you'll be evaluated on probably within that document. They're going to tell you all the areas that you need to know to be able to successfully complete the knowledge exam. So that's why that document on RID's website is a great tool for you. Once you take the knowledge test and pass it, you'll have 5 years to take and pass the interview/performance portion of the test. Again, you have to have your certification or your bachelor's degree for that, or you can do what they call an educational equivalence, and that form is also online. And so if you want to try to get to be a certified member of RID and don't have or care to get or want whatever a bachelor's degree, you can try that educational equivalent form and see if that will work for you. But generally for students, that form is not going to be the best way to go about it, because it often requires certain numbers of years of experience and hours of interpreting and such things. So you might just go ahead and get your bachelor's degree. To be a certified member of RID, FYI, you do need to have a bachelor's degree. So let's say you wanted to be a certified member and you are coming through the EIPA route. If you take EIPA's performance test and then you take their knowledge test and you pass it, so you got to get a 4.0 or better, and then you pass the knowledge test. Even if you don't have a degree, if you don't have a bachelor's degree, then you can't just join RID as a certified member. You still have to have a bachelor's degree, or you have to do that equivalency form and satisfy that criteria to be able to become a certified member of RID. So nowadays, future certified members of RID are going to need their degree, a bachelor's degree, and or that equivalency. In any any case, let's go back. So the knowledge test, once you take and complete that, and let's say you're qualified to then sit for the performance test. The performance test includes an interview portion and a performance portion. So the interview portion is not done with a live panel. It's just you and a TV somewhere, and it'll be videotaped, and you'll be interviewed in some form, asked questions, and you need to demonstrate your knowledge and your ability to be able to respond to the questions or scenarios that are presented to you. So that's part of it, and then the other part is the performance part, where you're going to listen to somebody give a lecture in English, and you'll sign it into your natural signing style, and then you'll watch somebody sign and you'll voice it back. Now, in the old days meaning just a few years ago, they used to sort of separate out interpreting versus transliterating, but that's not separated out anymore. So those skills of being able to sort of code switch within an interpretation will likely come up in while you're listening to whoever speak and you're signing. So you don't have to necessarily worry about focusing on a particular skill. If you're especially skilled in the codes of sign language, all the systems of sign language, then you'll be able to manage the information appropriately as it comes up. So they don't separate out, like, say, you're going to sit for certificate of interpretation or certificate of transliteration like they used to. That's all come together, and the source material itself should draw out from you those skills to make sure that you can demonstrate that. Now again, NIC no longer has the levels, so you're not going to see certified, certified advanced, and certified master. You're just going to be NIC certified. Now, one of the things that I think, don't quote me on this that it's already in place, what I think is going to happen is RID through the NIC is going to set up a base certification and then start having specializations within the within interpreting. So what I mean by that is there has been already and continues to be a specialist certification for legal interpreters, and now the EIPA has become sort of a specialist certification for educational interpreters. It's not really considered that yet, but I'm thinking that the direction that RID will probably go is set a base certification that everybody has to take and pass, and then you'll start being able to get specialized certifications in things like performing arts and medical settings and legal and education. I don't know that to be true for sure, but I'm thinking that might be the direction that the organization is going. For now, those of you who are not yet certified, when you take the NIC, you'll either be certified or you won't. So you're no longer going to get a level. Don't let that bother you or worry you. RID, aside from this short period of time where they had those levels, which was really only less than a decade, less than 10 years of levels. It was probably, it wasn't long. The RID's always been, if you're certified, then RID considers you minimally qualified or more. So you're at least minimally qualified with certification. So it's a good thing. So don't worry about if you have a level now that you're going forward and they're not available to you and other people flash their levels. Levels, to me, my personal opinion was that was divisive. So I think it's better that we're certified, and then if they do go the route of specializing in certain fields, I personally think that's a great idea, because you have a base certification that shows an overall linguistic and cultural ability, and then you can specialize in areas of your interest, such as education, legal, medical, performing arts, etc. So just kind of keep that in mind. I would just keep abreast of what RID does. Even if you're not a member of RID and don't really want to be a member of RID, if you're going to get certified by them through NIC, you might as well just be a member. But you should still know what RID is doing, because they do have a lot of influence through their regional, the local RID organizations. So most states will have at least one local organization. States like California, we have several local RIDs. So those often will have influences on your community and or the state as far as mandates and laws that get passed within your states. So even if you're not a member of RID, you should still know what RID is doing. But if you want to have a say in such things, then you should join RID so that your vote or your opinion can count. So in any case, the NIC test has, you do not have to be have a bachelor's degree to take the knowledge portion. You must take and pass the knowledge portion before you sit for the interview/performance. To sit for the interview/performance, you must have a bachelor's degree or do their online form for equivalency. And I would encourage you to look at their document online. That is a PDF file called the NIC Candidate Handbook, and it'll have the most current year available to you so that you know what's going on at the time that you're ready to take and pass the certification. Don't let it be a daunting certification to you or overwhelming or cause great fear. RID does exactly what EIPA and ESSE does, and that's they look for skill sets that you should be using every day in your daily interpretations. So they're not trying to trick you. They're not throwing stuff in there that you shouldn't be able to demonstrate in your daily work if you work as an interpreter. So don't let fear be a reason on why not to take the evaluation, RID certification. The one thing that they don't do that I wish they would is give any kind of detailed feedback. So EIPA and ESSE, if you want to know more about your signing and get feedback about it, take those tests first, and then that will help you know where you're doing really well and where you might need some work, so that when you take RID's exam, you'll have an idea of what they're going to be looking for, and you'll already know that you can demonstrate those tasks. So, okay, with that said, you can be certified if you want to through NIC. Don't let it overwhelm you. All you got to do is know that you can do it. Some people, it takes more than one time of taking the test. Okay, that's all right. Sometimes that's a nerve issue more than it is about their skill set. Sometimes you're just so nervous. So if you'll take these tests, I would prep with like ESSE, then EIPA, then the NIC. If you do these things, the more frequently you expose yourself to that, videotaping yourself at home, putting yourself on the spot in your interpreting classes, those kinds of things, they help you get over your nerves so that the nerves aren't the reason why your score is the way that it is. Go in and keep your nerves down to a minimum, because all you're doing in that assignment is doing what you do every single day, and that's interpret information. The only difference is you don't have a live body, but even in VRS, your live body is still a video. So these days in the 21st century, this whole business of, well, it's a two-dimensional screen, you got to throw that out the window. That's no longer an excuse, because everything's 2D to all of us. We've been watching TV and computer monitors for so long, but that's not a reason on why you're not being successful, because half of your source material that you prep with online is videotapes or videos of people that you're watching sign. So just keep your nerves down. You'll be successful. You can do it. And then when you do it, you'll feel pride that you do it, and hopefully you'll encourage others to do it without putting up barriers like saying, oh my gosh, this test was so entirely hard. We don't have to approach it like that. Approach it like it's an assignment that you're going to